Traders, how are you? With Marcello. We got a lot of things happening today, recapping what happened in the markets last week. Markets absolutely took a dive, the worst Black Friday in 70 years. And we also have the new Omicron variant. Let's get started. Overall for the week, we started off on a high note, and then we had this news of the super supreme, extra infectious, you're going to die tomorrow, Omicron variant of the pandemic, the C word. I don't want to say it because then we'll get censored since we already had one channel shut down by YouTube. But overall for the week, especially on Friday, markets took a huge dive. Markets in the U.S. were mostly negative due to the fact that obviously we have the situation that if we have this new variant that's super infectious and you're going to die tomorrow, that's going to affect the economy. People are going to have to lock down, and even a lot of countries like Europe. Well, Europe isn't a country, but the countries of the Eurozone and also the United States and Canada already started blocking flights from South Africa or Africa as a whole in some cases. But don't worry, the southern border is still open in the U.S. because, it doesn't travel on foot. So don't worry about that. Other than that, the markets internationally, the Euro stocks went down about 6.52%. In Europe, the markets were mostly lower. Latin American and Canadian markets, those were mixed as well. Big winners and losers in Latin America. Canada went up by 1.79%. Africa and the Middle East, Saudi Arabia was the biggest loser there at 3.63%. And then in the far east, when most of the markets were negative, we had the Sensex in India go down by 4.42%, which was the biggest loser there. Bitcoin also negative, a big number for 8.07% negative. It's not really a big number for cryptos is what I was trying to say. That went down to $54,205.60 for the week. And the biggest news this week in Bitcoin was the fact that El Salvador announced a new Bitcoin city that was going to be powered by the energy of the volcano. So everything's going to be great as long as the volcano doesn't explode. So I love what he's doing with the marketing of this. Obviously, El Salvador isn't the biggest country in the world, nor is it one of the best places to visit, so to speak. It's not a very good economy, especially since over 30%, if I remember correctly, a big chunk of the economy is people working overseas and sending money back, right? So when workers have to leave your country to go work somewhere else to be able to feed their families, it's not a very good economy. But by announcing the Bitcoin city and other things, he's kind of putting El Salvador on the map. A lot of money's coming in. Obviously, a lot of people are going to want to invest, and there's some people that are already going there to invest in the tourism projects that are going to be based on Bitcoin, obviously. Commodities for the week, U.S. crude, again, due to the super supreme, ultra infectious, you're going to die tomorrow, Omicron variant. We have flights being shut down now. Nobody can fly from Africa to certain countries. So now we have this huge fear that the recovery of the economy isn't going to go as previously planned. So crude took a huge dive. American crude, which is called, American crude, let's just call it that, went down 11.43% to 68.15, while international crude, which is called Brent, went down 8.48% to 72.72. Precious metals also took a dive, not necessarily because of the super infectious, you're going to die tomorrow, Omicron variant, but it went down because Jerome Powell, which is the U.S. Federal Reserve Chair, or the President of the Federal Reserve, which is the central bank in the United States, he got voted in again, which is kind of more of the same, right? And some profit taking by investors. So again, we're back down to that support level. Again, I'm not a trading advisor. You should do your own research. Make sure you don't listen to what I say. I'm not giving you trading advice or legal advice or accounting advice or any of that, but definitely a good time to look at getting a little bit of silver in your portfolio. Gold went down 3.31% to 1,786, while silver went down 6.33% to 23.19. And it is Thanksgiving week, so happy Thanksgiving to you. I've been doing this now for almost 21 years in the financial markets, trading, investing, teaching people how to trade, funding traders. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you and all of the people who watch these videos and all of the people that have been part of DTA and Speed Up. So I just wanted to stop here for a second and say thank you. Other than that, financial and banking news, the Reserve Bank of both New Zealand and also Korea, specifically South Korea, had decided to raise their interest rates. In the case of New Zealand, they're saying that they're going to also reduce their monetary stimulus, and that's to, in their view, maintain price stability, aka inflation, and also support maximum sustainable employment. So a bit of a, weird is not the right word, but we have most other countries, especially countries in the Eurozone and the United States and Canada and Australia, they're literally just sloshing the money around like it's going out of style. So it's really refreshing to see a few countries actually take their monetary situation very good, even though I think that they're doing this on purpose because they need to make the crisis that's coming so bad that we're all going to accept the new financial system, government coin. Political news. After years of divisive protests in the streets and also a mostly left-wing body to rewrite the Constitution, Chileans now are voting for the right again. They gained quite a bit in Congress, and also there's a runoff now that's going to go off on December 19th with the former congressman and leaning right, Jose Antonio. He won almost 23% of the vote, whereas leftist lawmaker Gabriel Boric came in second with almost 26%. So now it seems that they got a little taste of what Cuba and Venezuela and Argentina, the poverty and everything feels like. So it looks like they're swinging the other way. And also, despite public approval ratings crashing, it's been notified from not president, but the young lady that does the press, Psaki, or Psaki, I don't know how you pronounce it right, but it's basically been reported that Biden is going to run for re-election in 2024. Hopefully his mind will last that long. German Social Democrats, Greens, and Free Democrats have agreed to form a three-way coalition after 2 months of talks in Germany. So now the baton is finally being passed with the center-right. Merkel has been running the country for 16 years. She's the leader of her party with the coalition that she made. So now Germany is kind of passing the baton, and a gentleman, I don't have the name of the person who's running it here, but basically there's a new kid in town. Oh, there it is. Olaf Scholz is the guy's name. And he's from the center-left Social Democrat Party. And he's going to be the new chancellor of Germany. So there's a big change there happening in Germany. And Sweden's first ever female prime minister resigned just a few hours after she was appointed due to the fact that her coalition partner quit after their budget failed to pass, and also after the parliament accepted a budget that included anti-immigrant far-right leaders. So she just decided, because she just doesn't want to deal with the far right, what they're calling it, the far right. In economic news, Eurozone business activity grew unexpectedly in November. But now with the new wave of the be careful, you're going to die tomorrow, highly contagious Omicron variant, that's probably not going to last in December as well, due to the fact that now everybody's talking about lockdowns. And obviously they're saying that the new variant as well isn't effective with, I don't want to say it, but those things that go in your arm. So they're going to have to develop new ones, et cetera, et cetera. U.S. Labor Department also on Wednesday saying that the initial jobless benefits fell to 71,000 to under 200,000 for the first time since 1969. That's the lowest level since that year. One thing, however, that they don't care to show, for example, like the inflation, right? You're going to the store and the amount of money that you go to spend at the grocery store, it doesn't last as much as it used to, right? But the government is only saying that the inflation is 4, 5, 6%. Well, one of the things here, for example, that they aren't telling you is the fact that there's a lot of people that don't have jobs that simply aren't looking for jobs anymore because they're still getting COVID. Oh, I said it. Now they're going to censor me. They're still getting the money from the government. And so that's one of the things they don't tell you. Another thing that I read, I was going to do a video on this. Over 60% of the people in the United States don't pay taxes. Over 60%. So now, I remember, I think it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it was 50%. Now it's 60%. Soon it's probably going to be 70 or 80%. Now, who do you think they're eventually going to go after to be able to go ahead and pay the debts, because the debts aren't going down. The spending is continuing to go up. It's going to be you and I, so keep in mind. Other than that, corporate news, shares of U.S.-based Moderna exploded up 7% after the U.S. regulation widened their approval for their booster shot, for that thing that go in your arm, for the, be careful, you're going to die tomorrow, Omicron variant. That includes Germany and Singapore starting to promote their boosters as well. So this is obviously very good for the company's bottom line. In trade news, global shortage coffee beans is pushing coffee prices to a record high, especially for all of you guys. Starbucks hasn't raised their prices yet, but they'll probably be doing that very soon, because a lot of the companies this year were listening to the Federal Reserve or the central bank saying that the prices were just temporarily increasing, that inflation was transitory. But now I think a lot of companies are now starting to see that it's not transitory, and this is going to continue to get worse. So I think in 2022, we're going to get slammed with a lot higher prices. I don't know if you guys saw the news as well, where the Dollar Tree is now raising all their prices to $1.25. So they should change their name to $1.25 Tree. But if you really think about it, that's a 25% increase. And they're probably going to increase it next year as well. Me personally, I think prices are going up at they're over 30% now. In the beginning of the year is between 20 and 30. I think now it's about over 30. In technology, small team researchers at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory and University of California found that battery-powered trains are becoming economical as soon as 2023. Thanks to improved battery tech and also cheap renewable energy, it could allow it to compete with diesel trains to be able to power those. United Airlines as well just purchased 100 all-electric planes, smaller jets. I'm sure, I wouldn't want to put on a smaller jet because they just came out, but, let them test it. And then, we can come on the 747s. China's capital city, Beijing, has also approved its first autonomous taxis for commercial use. They are going to still have people inside for emergencies, just in case the guy needs to grab the wheel for accidents or the emergencies. But very soon, all of us, it's like the Great Reset, right? You're not going to own anything, but you're going to be happy. But all the rich people get to own everything. Great Reset, coming to 2030 near you. Investment news, U.S. tech giants have been fined in Italy $225 million. Amazon and Apple specifically, due to anti-competitive cooperations in the sale of Apple and Beats products. It's so funny how all these big companies want to have access. The rules are fair for everybody, right? But then somebody who makes one of these great businesses, then they want rules to be passed so people can't compete with their businesses. I don't know if you guys have seen, for example, Amazon, they go in and start creating their own products to compete against the product that somebody else is selling on Amazon. So they literally take your business away from you. Funny how that happens, right? Capitalism, baby. Corruption is what it's called. And international events as well. Outgoing Chancellor Angela Merkel was talking about setting a new lockdown in all of Germany for the fourth wave of the pandemic, the C word. Be careful, you're going to die tomorrow. Infectious Omicron variant. So they were proposing a new 2-week lockdown to begin on Thursday. Even was going to see restaurants, bars, and shops closed, but they decided to reject it. The new incoming government rejected it because they said that it might be viewed as the public as a bad political trick. And Australia also is sending peacekeeping troops to the Solomon Islands after they defied lockdowns and set fire to government buildings and police stations and businesses to be able to go ahead and keep the peace, just like they're going into indigenous communities in Australia and literally force injecting them to make sure that they're protected against the you-know-what. Be careful. Super infectious. You're going to die tomorrow. Omicron variant. In an unusual facts this week, Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities held a ceremony after they opened again the ancient Avenue of the Sphinxes, once named the Path of the Gods. It connects the Temple of Karnak to the north to the city of Luxor to the south, and it has been said that it could date back as to 3,500 years ago. There's about 1,050 statues of sphinxes and rams all throughout the avenue, which is, you guys should look it up on Google. It actually is pretty cool looking. And the world's first floating city in South Korea, off the coast of South Korea, I should say, is being built, supported by the UN and backed by $200 million. Supposedly, it's going to be hurricane proof. It's never going to flood because being an island, it's going to go up and down with the level of the water. And it's also going to produce its own electricity and fresh water as well, which is something that's interesting. It should be operational by 2025. And that's the news for this week, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, be careful out there. Super infectious. You're going to die tomorrow. Omicron variant.